Ammon, 1 Chronicles 21:12 says 3. The Greek Septuagint reads 3 in the Samuel account. One prophet explanation is that the 7 years referred to at 2 Samuel would, in part, be an extension of the 3 years of famine that came because of the sin of Saul and his house against the Gibeonites. 2 Sa 21:1, 2 The current year the registration took 9 months and 20 days. 2 Sa 24. 8 would be the 4th, and 3 years to come would make 7. Although the difference may have been due to a copyist's error, it may be said again that a full knowledge of all the facts and circumstances should be his before one reaches such a conclusion. For the temple service. Sometime later David, who was now quite old, had the Levites numbered for future temple service, with Jehovah's apparent approval. This count revealed that there were 38,000 Levites 30 years of age and upward, all able-bodied men. They were listed as follows: 24,000 supervisors, 6,000 officers and judges, 4,000 gatekeepers, and 4,000 musicians. 1 Ch 23. 1-5. In connection with the building of the temple we read, Then Solomon took account of all the men that were alien residents, who were in the land of Israel, after the census that David his father had taken of them. And there came to be found 153,600. So he made 70,000 of them burden bearers, and 80,000 cutters in the mountain, and 3,600 overseers for keeping the people in service. 2 Ch 2. 17, 18. Later registrations. There were other registrations carried out by succeeding kings of Israel and Judah. In the days of King Amaziah the men in Otextoi acute Miritra Longo, Habom 767 edict of the emperor proved providential, for it compelled Joseph and Mary to journey from the city of Nazareth to Bethlehem in spite of the fact that Mary was then heavy with child. Thus Jesus was born in the city of David in fulfillment of prophecy. Lu 2. 4-7. Mic 5. 2. 2 registrations under Quirinius. Bible critics have said that the only census taken while Publius Sulpicius Quirinius was governor of Syria was about 6 CE, which event sparked a rebellion by Judas the Galilean and the Zealots. Act 5. 37. This was really the second registration under Quirinius, for inscriptions discovered at Amnia Antosh revealed that some years earlier Quirinius had served as the emperor's legate in Syria. The bearing of a recent discovery on the trustworthiness of the New Testament, by W. Ramsey, 1979, pages 285, 291 concerning this, the Dictionnaire du Nouveau Testament in Crampon's French Bible 1939 ed. p. 360 says, The scholarly researches of Zompt comment at Epigraph 2, 86-104. The Syria Romana Provincia, 97-98, and of Momsen Res Gesta Divi Augusti place beyond doubt that Quirinius was twice governor of Syria. Many scholars locate the time of Quirinius' first governorship as somewhere between the years 4 and 1 BCE, probably from 3 to 2 BCE. Their method of arriving at these dates, however, is not solid, and the actual period of this governorship remains indefinite. See Quirinius. His second governorship, however, included 6 CE according to details reported by Josephus. Jewish Antiquities, 18, 26-1. So historian and Bible writer Luke was correct when he said concerning the registration at the time of Jesus' birth. This first registration took place when Quirinius was governor of Syria, distinguishing it from the second, which occurred later under the same Quirinius, and to which Gamaliel makes reference as reported by Luke at Acts 5:37. Regret. See repentance. Harbiri middle. By our Jehovah has wide and made spacious. Grandson of Moses, only son of Eleazar, and founder of a family of Levites that still existed when David was king. 1 Ch 23. 15, 17. 24. 21. 26. 25. Rehob Public Square. Broad Place. 1. Father of Hadadezer the king of Zobah against whom David warred victoriously. 2 8. 3-12. 2. One of the Levites or the forefather of one attesting by seal a covenant in the time of Nehemiah and Ezra. NE 10. 1, 9, 11. 3. A place or city mentioned in the exploration of Canaan by the 12 Hebrew spies sent out by Moses. New 13. 21. It is probably the same place as Rehob and Beth Rehob mentioned at 2 Samuel 10. 6, 8. See Beth Rehob. 4. The name of at least one and perhaps two cities in the territory of Asher. Jos 19. 24, 28, 30. While some scholars consider both references to denote the same city, other related texts appear to indicate separate sites. Thus, Judges 1. 31, 32 says that Asher did not drive out the inhabitants of Rehob, so that the Asherites were obliged to dwell among the Canaanites of the land, whereas Joshua 21. 27, 31 and 1 Chronicles 6. 71, 75 state that Rehob was given to the sons of Gershom Goshen as Elvite city. Those favoring but one side consider these texts to mean that the task of evicting the Canaanites from Rehob was hindered originally but was accomplished at a later time, thus allowing for its occupation by the Levites. Those favoring two sites suggest one town as remaining in Canaanite hands, the other as among those initially captured by Asher and given to the Levites. For the two sites, some suggest an identification with Bad El-Amri, about 4 kilometers 2.5 mi of Akzib, for the Rehob of Joshua 19. 28. And for that of the other texts, they suggest Tel El-Gabi Tel Bira, about 10 kilometers 6 mi of Akko. This latter site is the one preferred by those who consider the name to refer to but one town. Hobomri middle.ho and wide and make spacious the people. Son of Solomon by his Ammonite text acute Miritra longo Hoboth 768 his people. But Hobom spurned this mature advice and sought the counsel of young men with whom he had grown up. They told the king he should in effect make his little finger thicker than his father's hips, increasing their yoke burden and chastising them with scourges instead of whips. 1 Chi 12. 2-15. 2 Ch 10. 3-15. 13. 6, 7. This arrogant, high-handed attitude adopted by Hobom completely alienated the majority of the people. The only tribes continuing to support the house of David were Judah and Benjamin, while the priests and Levites of both kingdoms, as well as isolated individuals of the 10 tribes, also gave support. 1 Chi 12. 16, 17. 2 Ch 10. 16, 17. 11. 13, 14, 16. Subsequently, when King Hobom and Adoram, who was over the conscripted forced laborers, entered the territory of the secessionists, Adoram was stoned to death but the king managed to escape with his life. 1 Chi 12. 18. 2 Ch 10. 18 Hobom then mustered an army of 180,000 from among Judah and Benjamin, determined that the 10 tribes would be forcibly brought under his subjection. But Jehovah through the prophet Shemaiah forbade them to fight against their brothers, since God himself had decreed the division of the kingdom. Though open warfare on the battlefield was thus avoided, hostilities between the two factions continued all the days of Hobom. 1 Chi 12. 19-24. 15. 6. 2 Ch 10. 19. 11. 1-4. For a time Hobom walked quite closely to the laws of Jehovah, and early in his reign he built and fortified a number of cities, some of which he stocked with food supplies. 2 Ch 11. 5-12, 17 However, when his kingship was firmly established he abandoned Jehovah's worship and led Judah in the practice of detestable sex worship, perhaps because of Ammonite influence on his mother's side of the family. 1 Chi 14. 22-24. 2 Ch 12. 1 This, in turn, provoked Jehovah's anger, and in expression of it he raised up the king of Egypt, Shishak, who, together with his allies, overran the land and captured a number of cities in Judah in the 5th year of Hobom's reign. Had it not been that Hobom and his princes humbled themselves in repentance, not even Jerusalem would have escaped. As it was, the treasures of the temple and the king's house, including the gold shields that Solomon had made, were taken by Shishak as his booty. Hobom then replaced these shields with copper ones. 1 Chi 14. 25-28. 2 Ch 12. 2-12. During his lifetime Hobom married 18 wives, including Mahalath the granddaughter of David, and Makkah the granddaughter of David's son Absalom. Makkah was his favorite wife and the mother of Abijah Jam, one of his 28 sons and the heir apparent to the throne. Other members of Hobom's family included 60 concubines and 60 daughters. 2 Ch 11. 18-22. Before his death at the age of 58, and the ascension of Abijah to the throne in 980 BCE, Hobom distributed many gifts among his other sons, presumably to prevent any revolt against Abijah after his death. 1 Chi 14. 31. 2 Ch 11. 23. 12. 16. On the whole, Hobom's life is best summed up in this commentary. He did what was bad, for he had not firmly established his heart to search for Jehovah. 2 Ch 12. 14. Hoboth 3 middle. Hoboth broad places. 1. The name that Isaac gave to a well he dug. GE 26. 22. Some scholars have tentatively identified Hoboth with Rehoboth Negev, about 35 kilometers 22 miles of Beersheba. The names bear certain similarities. In naming the well, Isaac said that now God had given ample room. He and his shepherds could be fruitful without interfering with, or getting interference from, others. 2. A city of unknown location from which came Shaul, an early Edomite king. GE 36. 31, 37. 1 Ch 1. 43, 48. In both references to it, the place is called Hoboth by the river.